All right, so ready to ditch that gym. Let's talk about getting those workouts outside. It is so nice to exercise in the open air, and we've got a ton to dive into today. An article completely packed with outdoor workout ideas, a blog post about fitness broken down by season, even an infographic about how to stay active when it gets colder.
Hmm.
We are going to figure out how you can exercise outdoors no matter what your fitness level is or what time of year it is.
What I think is so interesting about working out outdoors is that it's not just about physical fitness.
hmm
Like, did you know there was a study back in 2013 that found that just spending time in nature can actually help restore your mental focus and reduce anxiety?
You know what? I have totally noticed that. Whenever I take a walk in the park, like a good walk, I always feel so much more clear-headed.
Uh-huh.
It's like hitting the reset button on my brain. And, even on those days when I'm feeling stressed or down, just being out in nature really lifts my mood.
Exactly. And then there are all those warm weather activities that can really get your heart pumping. The Best Outdoor Workouts article talks about swimming and paddleboarding as incredible ways to work on your cardiovascular health. And the rhythmic motions and the resistance of the water can really get your blood flowing.
I've always wanted to try paddleboarding, but I'm a little intimidated, I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like you need a lot of balance and core strength.
We definitely engage your core, but you'd be surprised how quickly you pick it up. And think of it this way. The more you challenge your balance, the stronger your core gets.
Oh, yeah.
It's a win-win.
Okay.
Plus, being out on the water, surrounded by nature, can be so calming, like a
Yeah.
moving meditation.
Okay, that is actually making me want to try it. Now, what about those of us who really like, intense workouts? I've heard a lot about HIIT lately, and I'm wondering how that translates to an outdoor setting.
Oh, HIIT, or high-intensity interval training, is a fantastic way to get a really effective workout in a short amount of time. And the best part is you can do it anywhere. No gym required.
Okay.
The article, 17 Outdoor Exercise Ideas, actually outlines a really simple HIIT routine that you can do in your backyard at the park. You can even do it on your street.
Okay, so let's break down this HIIT routine a bit.
Okay.
What kind of exercises are we talking about here?
So think high knees, squats, jumping jacks,
Okay.
all those classic moves that get your heart rate up fast. You do each exercise for a short burst, like maybe 30 seconds,
hmm
followed by a quick rest. And then you just repeat that cycle a few times.
So it's kind of like a bunch of mini sprints, but with different body weight exercises.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
And because you're pushing yourself to your max during those bursts, you burn a ton of calories, and you actually continue to burn even after you're done working out.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I also read that HIIT can be really good for your heart health, your cardiovascular health.
Yes, that's right. By going back and forth between those high-intensity bursts and rest periods, you're training your heart to be more efficient at pumping blood.
Yeah.
So it's like boot camp for your cardiovascular system.
Now, this article also mentioned using a park bench as a workout tool.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I'm a little skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
What can you really do with just a bench?
A lot. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
A park bench can actually be like your own little gym. We're talking incline push-ups, tricep dips, step-ups. You could even do Bulgarian split squats.
Bulgarian split squats.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll be honest, that sounds intimidating. Can you walk me through that one?
Okay, sure. So for Bulgarian split squats, you want to stand with your back to the bench
Okay.
and put one foot up on top of the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to lower yourself down like you're doing a lunge. Keep your back straight. Keep your core engaged.
And what will I get from doing Bulgarian split squats? It sounds tough.
Oh, it's a great one for your quads, glutes, and your hamstrings.
Mm.
But if you're just starting out, you might want to start with like a lower bench or just regular lunges. It's always good to work your way up to those more advanced variations.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's easy to just want to do the most intense version of everything. But sometimes those modifications are what keep you from getting hurt.
Exactly. All about listening to your body and figuring out what works for you.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned you wanted to explore different kinds of workouts. Have you ever thought about trail running?
I have, but I live in a pretty urban area. Are there even trails I can get to without having to drive for hours?
You know, even in cities, there are usually hidden pockets of nature just waiting to be explored. You might be surprised to find a trail system kind of tucked away in a local park or along a riverbank.
That's a good point. I'll have to do some investigating.
Mm.
But what about when the weather's just, not great?
Yeah.
Winter can be pretty rough here. Do our sources have any advice on how to stay active in the colder months?
They do. 7 outdoor workout ideas suggest getting creative, and taking that at-home workout routine outside.
Okay.
It's all about wearing the right layers,
Mm-hmm.
staying hydrated, and paying attention to the conditions.
So if I bundle up and take my yoga mat out to the backyard, I can still get some of those benefits of working out outdoors, even if it's freezing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And don't underestimate the power of a quick walk on a cold winter day.
Yeah.
The fresh air and the sunshine can really boost your mood, even if you are bundled up like a snowman.
Okay. I am starting to see how working outdoors is something you could work into your routine all year round. And I'm really interested in those mental and emotional benefits we talked about earlier.
Yeah,
Could we go into a little more detail on those?
absolutely.
Yeah.
We usually think of working out as something we do for our physical health.
Right.
But the section on outdoor meditation in our article really highlights how being in nature can be just as good for our minds.
Tell me more.
Think about it. When you're surrounded by nature, all your senses are engaged in a totally different way than when you're inside.
Mhm.
You're noticing the sounds of birds singing, the feel of the sun on your skin, even the scent of the fresh air.
That's so true.
Yeah,
I never really thought about it that way, but it makes total sense. It's like our brains are getting a break from all the noise and all the stimulation of being inside.
exactly. And that break can be so restorative.
Okay, this is all making me want to get outside and just start exploring, but I think we should stop here and come back for part 2.
It really is amazing how just changing your environment can really have a big impact on your well-being. But let's go back to the practical stuff for a minute. One thing that I think keeps people from exercising outside is that they don't know where to start.
I totally get that. It's so easy to feel overwhelmed by all the choices, especially if you're used to the gym?
Absolutely. And that's where those FAQ sections in the articles can be helpful. They've got some really good advice for figuring out what the best outdoor workout is for you. First, like we talked about earlier, you got to be honest about how fit you are right now.
Right. No shame in starting slow.
Exactly. You were saying you were kind of intimidated by paddleboarding? Well, maybe instead of doing that right away, you could start with kayaking. It's a good way to get comfortable being on the water,
Okay.
and you can build up your upper body strength.
Yeah, that's a good point. I love being on the water, so kayaking could be a good place to start. What about people who just aren't into traditional workouts? Are there ways to make outdoor exercise feel less like, I don't know, less like exercise?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It all comes down to finding activities you actually like.
Right.
Like if you love exploring new places, hiking or trail running could be a really good option.
I've always thought hiking would be fun, but I get bored pretty easily. Any tips for making it more interesting?
I would try to find a trail that has a lot of different terrain or some cool views.
Okay.
That way you're always seeing something new. And being challenged, you could even make it into a photo scavenger hunt or take a nature journal with you.
Those are some really fun ideas. What about people who don't have a lot of time or who live in places where there's not a lot of nature?
Even if you only have 15 minutes,
Mhm.
you can still get the benefits of outdoor exercise.
Okay.
A quick walk around the block, a few sets of stairs in your building, even just some stretching in your backyard.
Right. It's all about those little bits of movement during the day.
Exactly. And that 7 outdoor workout ideas article says to think outside the box when it comes to your surroundings. You can always take your at-home workout to a park near you,
Uh-huh.
or even just open your windows and let some fresh air in while you're working out inside.
Okay. Speaking of thinking outside the box, that article also mentions these outdoor adventure races.
Yeah.
Those sound so intense. What are those all about?
Those are like the ultimate challenge.
Okay.
They combine a bunch of activities like trail running and mountain biking, kayaking, even obstacle courses,
Mhm.
all packed into an event that lasts for hours or even days.
Wow.
It's definitely not for beginners. But if you're up for a challenge, it can be a really rewarding experience.
Wow, that's quite an adventure. I don't think I'm ready for that level of intensity.
And that's totally fine. The great thing about outdoor exercise is that there's something for everyone,
Right.
no matter how fit you are or how much experience you have.
It's really about finding your own pace, what you actually enjoy doing.
Exactly. And remember, this isn't about comparing yourself to other people or trying to be perfect.
Yeah.
It's about being good to your body, challenging yourself in a way that feels right, and just enjoying the process.
I'm realizing as we're talking about all of this, there's a lot of mindfulness that goes into exercising outside.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Whether you're actually meditating out in nature or just being present when you're hiking or biking or swimming, Exercising outdoors really encourages you to pay attention to your senses and connect with your surroundings.
It's like that moving meditation like we were talking about with paddleboarding.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that connection to nature can really have a positive effect on your mind and how you're feeling. Studies have shown that being in nature can lower stress, improve your mood, and even make you more creative.
That makes a lot of sense. Whenever I feel stressed out, taking a walk in the park always helps me to calm down
Yeah,
and to see things more clearly.
exactly. It's like nature has this amazing power to kind of soothe us and remind us of what's really important.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot today, from finding your perfect workout match to how being mindful plays a part in exercising outdoors. What are some of the key takeaways you'd like our listener to remember?
I can say the most important thing is to approach outdoor exercise with a sense of curiosity and like a willingness to explore.
Hmm.
Don't be afraid to try new things. Step out of your comfort zone and find what you really enjoy doing.
I love that. And it's a reminder that fitness doesn't have to be limited to going to the gym.
Exactly. The world is your gym.
Yeah.
There are so many opportunities for movement and adventure just waiting for you to discover them right outside your door.
All right, before we finish this deep dive, I think we should talk about something that's on everyone's mind.
Okay.
The potential difficulties of exercising outdoors. We've been talking about all these great benefits and all the different ways you can work out outdoors. But what about those days when things just don't go as planned?
Right.
Like the weather's bad or you just don't have much time?
It's true. Life doesn't always work out perfectly.
Yeah.
I think it's important to remember that any movement is good movement.
Okay.
Even if you can only squeeze in a 10-minute walk at lunch or do some stretching in your living room while you're watching TV,
Mm.
you know, those little things you do for yourself, they can really make a difference.
Yeah, I like that perspective. It kind of takes the pressure off of having to always do these big, long, intense workouts.
Exactly. And remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about doing what you can on that day. Some days you might be hiking in the mountains. Other days you might just be taking the stairs instead of the elevator.
We've talked about challenges like location and weather, but what about just feeling motivated? I know there are days when I just can't seem to get myself moving.
Motivation can be tough. But here's the thing. You don't have to wait until you feel motivated to actually do something.
Okay.
Sometimes just starting is all you need to feel motivated. So instead of waiting for the perfect time or until you're in the mood, just put on your shoes and get outside, even if it's just for 5 minutes.
I've heard about that, the 5-minute rule, right? Like if you can just make yourself exercise for 5 minutes, you probably want to keep going.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you only do those 5 minutes, you're still doing something good for yourself.
It's easy to get stuck in that all or nothing mindset when it comes to exercise.
Yeah.
But really, every little bit helps.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the most important thing is to find something you really enjoy. If you hate your workouts, you're not going to keep doing them.
So what if someone's just not interested in regular workouts?
Think outside the box. Maybe join a hiking group, try rock climbing, or even just walk around your neighborhood. The point is to make it fun.
Well, it seems like we've talked about just about everything today, from the physical and mental benefits of exercising outdoors to practical tips for dealing with challenges, and of course, how to find the best outdoor workout for you.
It's been great, and I really hope everyone listening is feeling inspired to get outside and see what outdoor fitness is all about.
I think they are. So to wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one last thought.
Okay.
How can you bring the joy of movement and the beauty of nature into your everyday life? It doesn't have to be complicated or take up a lot of time. It could be as simple as taking a walk in the park, really paying attention to what's around you, or stretching for a few minutes under the sky. Remember, there's no limit to what you can do when you get outside and make the world your gym.